Yeah, one of the first mover and evangelists of gamification in Germany. And so I think most of you already have heard about gamification or familiar with this kind of term. I have a lot of discussions about what is gamification. So what gamification is not, before I want to start with my talk, is to make sure what gamification is not about taking some badges, points, levels and anything else and just throw it on some kind of activity to get some kind of leaderboards or anything else. That's not gamification. Gamification, it's a tool. Using points and badges is some kind of tool of gamification, but that's not gamification. What gamification is for us is we are combining psychology, so it's a lot of behavioral psychology and positive psychology, motivational psychology, and combine this with game design thinking, and yeah, and try what we learn from them. We want to use for activities with non-gaming context. But EngagingLab is concentrating not on virtual elements, but reality, as a real element. We want to use it offline. Because I love games, and I love what games can make with us. Yeah, they can get us engaged, motivated, focused on one task for hours, and even if we are playing we're playing games for hours and are very engaged in it, we are not exhausted afterwards, right? So even failing is fun. So within a game. So if you're failing the boss level, then you're starting it again and saying, oh, now I know how to make it. And that's what I love about games. And I think that learning from games, how they are doing this, and what how they touch our emotions, we can use this and design real processes in a new way for better human behavior. Yeah. So, but why am I talking about gamification in front of a lot of data experts? Okay, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, that's not going to work with our mouse, I think. Crazy, right? Oh. Okay. So it's just, yeah, a chat.
So maybe someone can tell which will be me to show.
I can click. Okay, to tell you why I'm going to talk in front of a lot of data experts, I think that data analytics, and so big data has to be connected with gamification in a very deep way. So, yeah, I want to tell this with a little story. Yeah. So it's a story. So you see, it's a story about Data, or Mr. Data, or we just call him Mr. D. And so Mr. D is a very smart guy, and he knows a lot. So he's wise. He's very wise, and he knows a lot about so much things from reality. And he's learning very quick. He's a very quick learner. So for us normal people, he's just like a giant brain that's collecting all information flowing around. But often there's a problem. Only a few people listen to Mr. D. Although he has even though he has so much to talk about and knows so much for almost every kind of situation in life, they don't listen to him. Because it's just boring stuff. Most people think it's just boring stuff. And that's because Mr. D is very bad at it, right? So he can create, he can create a fascination about what he's talking about, his facts, his numbers, his stories. So almost no one listens to him, not even if something very important to say. So but one day, he met Mrs. Gamification, or Mrs. G. And Mrs. G loves to tell stories. She loves to entertain everyone, and she's amazing at creating excitement and attention within her audience. She's amazing at breathing life into her stories. But there's also a problem with her, because mostly Mrs. G has to make up a story, because she doesn't know so much. She would love to know more about the people she's telling her stories to create more relevance, and so to achieve a deep engagement between her stories and the audience. She wants her stories to not just to be virtual, reality or unreal, but she wants them to be real. And then one day, she met Mr. D. And now suddenly everything changed. She listens to Mr. D, and she's overwhelmed by all the data, or by all the real world content. And she starts to use these facts from Mr. D to tell stories about reality. And suddenly, she's able to create relevance for her audience, and her stories become meaningful. And Mr. D experienced that people love to listen to his data. Now he has a connection to the people he's telling the data about. So listening to Mr. D and Mrs. G together becomes fun and meaningful. Yeah, so that's a little story we use sometimes. So I think that so from the gamification point of view, we need a lot of data. Data is our, is our energy. You already said it before. You want the people that the game is changing. And so you know every data about the people, what they're doing within the game, so you can provide it. And it's the same in real life. And I think that often it's just one way, or it's just, if you're tracking data, you also need the people you're providing the data to use them and to have a relevance with the data so they can use it in a correct way, right? So this is some kind of a very easy feedback. So and as you can, and I think a lot of these, often feedback loops are very important to provide feedback within the game. So the people, the user who's playing the game, knows at every point of the game what he's doing, what he is able to do, what he has to do, and how he can do it, and what will going to change when he's doing it. So here on the right side you see personalized data and relevance, and that's for us that's the data part, right? So that's all about which data you want to collect. Then it's about the data collection. Then it's about the data analysis, and then the interpretation. Because there's a lot of data out there that is important for one player, but not for the other, even if they are in the same team and in the same mission. Yeah. And then there's the other side, the left side. And that's where we have this kind of human behavior, where we want the user, the player, to interact with the data you're collecting. And this is more irrational than rational. Or that's the point where psychology comes into the game. Yeah. So because of course often it's very rational because of the data you have been provided to act this way, but our emotions and everything else let us act in another way. So in a game, in the virtual world, it's very easy to guide the player through the game, but in real world there are a lot of there's too much distractions, so they can choose not to do this. So so that's dopamine, and dopamine is the main component within our body that's leading us to this decision. So we love to achieve dopamine. So that's where intrinsic motivation comes into the game. And I think that games are perfect, are the best known tool we have to create some kind of environment for people to achieve dopamine. That's why we love games, and that's why we are coming back every time again and try it again. And even if we fail, we want to try again to succeed. That's because of dopamine. And I think most of you know a flow channel from a Czech scientist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi or something like that. And every one of you knows these. When you're playing a game, often you're completely losing track of time, right? So you're playing for 5 hours and you click on watch, and then I thought it was just 1 hour. That's when you're achieving the flow channel. You're getting into the flow channel if the tasks you're doing is exact in the perfect ratio between the challenge of the task and your own skills. If it's difficult, you become frustrated. If it's too easy, you become bored, and you quit the game or you quit the activity or whatever you're talking about. So by using the feedback loop I talked about, you can individualize the activity for every single user that you're able to keep him in the flow channel. And games are perfect in that, and I think that we have to try to get the potential of games into reality. But I think often reality is just there and boring. Yeah. So the Czech scientists said, so we don't know exactly, so it's very difficult. You can't force a person into the flow channel. But if someone is in the flow channel, often these three elements are there or occur. You have clear goals, you know exactly what to do. There's the great balance between your challenges and the skills. So we talk about this at the flow channel. And you have an immediate feedback. Yeah? And thinking about these three elements, isn't that every game you're playing possesses? Every game has exact these, of course there are some more elements, but every game has exact these three elements. And that's what I talked about here in the story. Yeah, we want to take what these elements you're tracking and you're analyzing and getting them into reality. So I think that so for us as a gamification company, we need great and real-time data and individual data. Use them. Using gamification to make these data more emotional and create a better relevance to the people. So we create a context, emotion, stories, and so we can build this kind of feedback loop every time again. Yeah. So that's for this. I think so. I just talked in Istanbul in front of game developers, and I think and I talked a lot with them, and they are already trying a lot of serious games, or not just them, of course, so everywhere. But we talk about serious games, and the potential of serious games is to get us to create this kind of excitement and engagement with in reality that we are also experiencing in virtually, online. And yeah, so that's the idea behind gamification. We are trying to do this. So we have two products in EngagingLab. So one time is we're taking a real problem and putting this into a game. So you're really playing a game, but in reality you're solving a big issue. I think all of you know Folded, right? So that's a serious game for us. And the other one, and I think it's a bigger part, even a bigger part, is taking the game elements out of the games and putting them in reality. And all the biggest challenge for these, for putting the game mechanics or the right game mechanics into reality is the pure data. We need more data, we need real data, and the most important part is that we need data designed that it's very easy for the user of the data to interact with them. Because a lot of our customers, they are tracking their data, they are good at tracking it. I think that they're good at tracking it. They have a lot of data, it's amazing, but then the people that are supposed to use this kind of data to improve something or to step forward, they don't like how it's being transported to them. They don't get it. They get that the real numbers, okay, but they don't see the relevance for it. And I think that what you're using, so how you're using data in games, so that the player knows exactly what to do and how to do it and how to get better. That's the way we want to track data, to use data in reality to achieve the same. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so it's much more abstract, this presentation, than the others before, sorry. So, yeah, any questions?
So you mentioned the game Folded. Are you working together with these people?
No. We created another game for the search for artificial intelligence in outer space. So it's a similar idea, so that everyone can help the SETI program to search for real data or to search for the important data. But no, we don't work with the MIT.
Actually, you have to help myself. I don't know what it is. What's Folded?
Folded is a game that so it's a chemical game. A chemical game. So we all Okay, so we all have components inside of us that's called proteins. Yeah. So and you have to fold proteins, and so you can fold proteins in an amazing number of different ways. And if you would know every kind of combination how to fold them, we could almost solve any kind of medical issue. And but if there are too much possibilities for the scientists, for the small number of scientists to find out. So folded is a game that makes it very easy to fold proteins and in a very fun way. So every human can play this game, can fold proteins. So thousands of people over the world played this game, and I think it was half a year or almost 1 year ago, I don't know, it's some time ago, they found a protein, or by chance they folded a protein that can connect to the AIDS virus. So that's big success, of course. So that's a serious game. So you make a very complicated task very easy playing steps.
Can we match geometrics against skill and what was the other axis?
Challenges?
Skill and challenges to come into the flow all the time and not more. No, but I
Sure,
just wonder how do we actually do it? So how do we get the players into the flow, and how do we make them spend money as well when they're in the flow? So that are the two issues. So we need to measure and keep track of these two axes, right? Can we do that?
For sure.
It's just
If you
can we do it? Okay.
Right, I mean, how would you measure challenge and how would you measure skill?
That's what I ask you. That's what everybody's interested in now.
That's how we have to define it.
Well, that's part of game design. So challenges are set by the game designers. They can actually do smart stuff, which I can't do. And skill partly are also set by the game designer, because you sort of see where can the player meet his challenges. So that's where the skill is either too high or just enough, and then you need to sort of adapt the challenges in real time so that you can find his perfect skill level.
For example,
estimate these skills.
you can measure, let's say you have a game which has 10 levels, and then you find out that in level 7 or level 3, a lot of people leave. So they go off of the flow thing, right? So they go one of the directions. Now, if you wanted to find out which one it is, you can see if it's a battling game, for example, how many battles do they lose? So if this one particular level has a very significantly different ratio of won versus lost battles, you probably know it's too hard. Because the people just lose. And when they lose, they get frustrated and they're off the map and then wrong.
Yeah,
So you want to make it easier. Then you go back to the game designer, you say, look, 99% of the battles in this level are lost. Even by players who tried a gazillion times. Which would be the next step in the analysis. This is too hard. So make it easier. Give them a better weapon or something. Or make the enemy in that level easier to defeat.
So the ideal world would be to measure skill and in real time maybe for us, in real time, measure skills in real time, match them to whatever the challenges to get everybody in the flow, keep them in the flow, every individual, measure what they do, what their skills are, where they are in the game, what they try to achieve or not, and all that.
It's a part of it. Yeah, it's a part of it. That's a mastering part, but there's also you need all. That's another thing that games are great. It's meaning.
I have easy ideas.
No, that's good. But there's of course there's for example meaning. Yeah, there's a story you're acting in. So we love to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and that's another thing that games are great in. They're building great stories. You're acting in, save the world, lead save your family. Because some zombies are coming or anything else. So you need this kind of epic story around it. And so, and that's a psychological factor. So what is motivating us? It's very evolutionary. I think that playing is built into our data. It plays learning engine, the learning engine of nature. So and they used it for billions of years. So if you have this kind of meaning why you're doing something, that it's more than just for getting your paycheck every day, then building this kind of mastering in it, so that the task you're doing is much more challenging than before, even if you could do it much more easier. And but it could be more interesting for you to make it in the hardware, do it in the hard way, because then it's challenging. So right. And then there's the feedback, that's the other thing, and that is combined under the real-time data, and then to provide the data in the right way, that I can see what does this data mean to me. So you have the relevance, because the relevance I can see what kind of choices do I have, then I can take action, and then I get the new real-time, hopefully real-time data.
Although I would like to say one thing on what you mentioned, real-time. So I think when you look with data, real-time is certainly interesting, but I think, like as related to games, many times even non-real-time data gives you good answers. So tracking something by the second is maybe interesting because you see something moving, a chart moving or something, but it doesn't give you an insight. The insight comes when you look at historical data and you find a pattern or something. So real-time is always cool, I know that, and stuff like that, but it's also super complicated, and with simpler things such as looking at historical data, I think you get a lot of good insights that make the game better and more profitable. Anyway, I just wanted to pick up on that real-time one.
Just to make it clear for me, what is it that EngagingLab is doing? Are you like actually creating the games or giving a platform for the games?
So we have a lot of clients. So normally we are all in the B2B sector. So for example, a lot of companies coming to us that have problems in the HRM sector. So they want so they have the fluctuality of their employees is too high. They need more employee loyalty. So we are looking about what are they doing, what kind of tasks are they doing, and how can we make these kind of tasks more challenging, so that they are more that the work becomes more fun. For example, everyone knows that it's CRM programs or software. It's very boring to use them. So we add some kind of game mechanics. So you don't know that you're a game. You don't think that as you're not playing in a real in a classical sense. But we are applying game mechanics so that you have all these kind of feedback. I'm talking about the feedback loop all the time, for example.
So you're more or less like working as a consultant, optimizing work.
Yeah. So one time we were consultants, and then at the other side we are building software, some kind of gamification customer software, relationship software. That can be used by employee responsible for the gamification part in the company, so he can track how the people are playing or doing their jobs, and have they already reached level 12, being a tax guy or anything else, and then he can add some new challenges, or we can build in the social connectivity or anything like that.
So the company sets goals for the employees and tracks how they perform.
That's
dashboard set.
So we are talking about the company. What exactly do they want to achieve from the people, and then so what kind of actions have to be done, and then we're looking how are they doing this right now, and then we're looking where's this big gap between how they're doing the same kind of work in games. Or in reality, think about it's called cross-functional teams in business, right? And I don't know. So think about any social games. Think about World of Warcraft, where we have to define goals, where you have to fight together to communicate, to reach milestones and so on. And there it's much more easier than in a real cross-functional team within a big business or within a big company where you're meeting new teammates all the time. So why is it? Why is that? Why it's very fun and easy in the game, and why it's so hard in reality? And there are some very interesting insights.
Give them guns.
Yeah, for example. Right.
Okay, any more questions? No? So, as said, I think we do our lunch break now. Thanks again, Roman.
Thanks.
So again, I think we start again at 1:30.